Ave. I do miss solo narrative-driven linear or semi-linear experiences. We do get some of them, but certainly not as many as we should. There's something quietly special about games that just guide you through a story. Not the ones that drop you into a giant world with a million icons, but the ones that pull you forward with purpose and hit you with scenes you remember for years. They somehow have a much more potent effect for the most part. Sure, I like having freedom in games, but let's be honest, there's a kind of burnout that happens when every game becomes another open world sprawl. We asked for endless choices, and in return, we often got bloated content. It's often not working as intended, to be honest. That's where linear or semi-linear or narrative-driven experiences come in. They're tight, focused, and driven by intent. The kind of game that respects your time and energy. And nowadays, we spend way too much time and energy on daily chores and busy work. We're not looking to be overwhelmed. These games don't hide their story behind endless collectibles and 10 different menu upgrades. They get straight to the good stuff. They're built to flow. Think about that train mission in Uncharted 2, or the basement in The Last of Us, or basically any chapter in Titanfall 2. Those moments don't happen by accident. Someone planned them. And that's the magic, when the game knows exactly what it wants you to feel, and it delivers. When you think about it, it doesn't really limit us. It's creating something meaningful. It's like watching a well-directed film versus improvising your own movie. Open world design adds this strange kind of pressure. You're not always relaxing. Sometimes you feel like you're over-managing, checking maps, planning routes, worrying about what side missions or achievements we missed. It becomes a chore list in disguise. Something Ubisoft games perfected, unfortunately. And yeah, some open worlds nail it, of course. But when every side quest feels like another fetch job from a character you barely know, would you start zoning out whether we like it or not? Narrative-driven games have focus. They have structure. They're built to build tension and break it just right. Like a novel with chapters, not like a sandbox with a to-do list. And based on data we've seen lately and the success of the narrative-focused games, players are starting to drift back towards these handcrafted, semi-linear, narrative-driven games. Not because they don't want depth, but because they want meaning. They're tired of roaming for its own sake. Tired of missing the big emotional moments because the game's too scattered to deliver them. There's a kind of peace in just handing the reins over and saying, okay, take me on this ride. That doesn't mean you're passive, it means you're ready to be moved. And linear games can often move you like nothing else because they're planned, timed, and designed with care. You feel that every part, every beat is chosen. Every scene has a point. This isn't AI-generated randomness. It's human storytelling. That's why those emotional moments really land. It's not luck, it's effort, it's art. Because really, what we're chasing in games isn't just cool combat or fancy graphics, though those definitely help. It's that gut-wrenching punch and emotion. That moment you forget you're playing and just feel. And narrative-driven games, they're built for that. They can grab your heart and not let go. But one of the issues we have vis-a-vis the developers is that some gamers got this obsession with value for money. And that's completely fair. Games are expensive, especially lately with the whole $80, $90 thing. But when we treat longer games as better games, we pressure the devs to stuff in content just to pad out the clock. More zones, more menus, more fillers, and the flavor gets lost. It gets too diluted. Big doesn't always mean better. We should focus on quality rather than quantity. Publishers just follow trends at the end of the day. Open worlds were hot, but the shine's slowly wearing off. And just look at how people reacted to games like God of War and Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor, the Resident Evil remakes, and even lately games like Lies of P and Expedition 33. Their stories and main missions are so focused, so well crafted, with so many set pieces that we're really engaged and immersed. And it really punches us in the gut, and it punches us hard at every corner because it's built to do so. It's handcrafted. Those games didn't just do well, they made a mark. They remind us that structure doesn't kill immersion, it often makes it stronger actually. And the numbers show it. Look how well all those games have sold. Expedition 33 is probably gonna be the game of the year. God of War sold like 25 million copies, Fallen Order like 20, Resident Evil Remake like 13, 14. These aren't niche games. They're proof that people want story-first guided experiences. And life, this beautiful life of ours, well, it often gets really complicated and already gives us analysis paralysis and overwhelms us with choices. Sometimes we just really want a path, a purpose, a story that says, "Come with me, I got something to show you." These semi-linear, solo narrative-driven experiences are quite popular. We see people asking for them all the time, but the devs would rather do a large, bland open world that AI or other players can fill. Looking at you, Starfield. They spin it to look like they're giving us more, but in fact they're giving us much less. The tight narrative experiences take a lot of creative work. You can't just fake a filler. You have to build every moment with intention. Real and deep storytelling, writing, creativity. That's tough. And it seems like a lot of studios have lost that craft as of late. We've been asking for bigger games, longer playtimes, calculating dollars per hour, so they end up giving us just that. Something huge but not substantial. And this is where we gamers are somewhat responsible. We need to demand handcrafted narrative story, because even if the gameplay and mechanics are spot on, you still need that emotional hook to make those games we're playing feel like a meaningful and immersive endeavor. And if the devs don't think we care about that anymore, they'll stop trying. And they have. But there's hope. There's quite a few games planned this year and others coming, like Mafia: The Old Country, which focus on tightly crafted narrative adventures. These games are leaning back into strong narrative-focused and crafted storytelling, and they're less about collecting map markers and more about giving you a journey worth remembering. And that's what we all want, right? So when the next single-player game shows up, the kind that values the story over endless sprawl, let's pay attention. Those games aren't relics, they're proof that the focus and structure and storytelling still matter. And they always will. And we as gamers need to send this message to studios, so we can get back the quality experience that we deserve. Sometimes the best path isn't the longest one. It's the one that actually leads somewhere worth going. See you at the end of the road.